welcome back to my channel. Welcome to 20 over 20 for August and September 2024. And I've had to stretch a point. There are two at the very end which aren't quite 20. They're a penny off, but you know, I'm squeezing them in. There was a time when I do the 20 over 20 video and I'd have to choose which 20 I was going to put in. No more, you know, suddenly life is different, and I very rarely find that I have £20 sales, you know. So 20 over 20 in 2 months. Most of my sales are well under the £20 mark these days. Let me just set up the recording on the computer and we'll get into it. Okay, first up then is the Drink-O-Matic. This was free, so this was definitely my biggest win in the last 2 months. I helped a friend move house. He was moving from one student digs to another. I helped him move house, and as I was driving away after dropping him off a few doors up, there was a house that had put out a load of stuff outside, and I spotted this, and it was a bit grubby. It had been sat there in the rain overnight, and I was like, oh, it might not work when I get it home, but I will take it home and try it. I would have loved to keep it for myself. You put cans of drink in, and then you can press the button and dispense. I would have loved to keep it, but there isn't anywhere in this house that it would go, and I didn't need it. And when I looked at the resale value on it, I was like, that's definitely going on eBay. It sold within a day of listing. I accepted an offer of £90 instead of £99.99, and it sold within a day of listing. And I probably should have priced it a little bit higher or held out and not accepted the offer, but it was a very dry spell indeed. And I was like, I'll take that offer of £90 and be happy with it. It was an absolute beast to pack. I very much regretted my actions when I had to pack it, but I managed to get it into the base of it into a banana box, and then I built a shell of cardboard around it and taped it up well, and then I shrink wrapped it, and then I taped it again, and then it got there safely. That was what mattered. I got decent feedback on it. It got there in one piece, but I did not enjoy packing it. It has a scratch on the top, as you can see in one of the pictures there. I had to buy a lead for it, but it only takes one of those little figure of 8 kind of, we call them kettle leads in the UK, but I don't think it's a kettle lead at all. But a figure of 8 lead. There's my flip-flops in the bottom of that picture. I didn't realise that. I just realised as well that they look like they are flip-flops from 2 different pairs. I didn't realise they'd snuck into the bottom of that picture. I should have been more careful when I was editing the pictures. But yeah, for a freebie to sell for 90 quid, I was very, very happy with that, and it sold extremely quickly. So that was definitely my big win. I did slightly underprice the postage. I priced it at £6.95, and I think it ended up costing me nearly a tenner to post. So that was a bit of a drawback. I did it by weight, but I forgot about the fact that by the time I'd packed it decently, it was going to weigh a lot heavier. So always be careful that you don't underprice yourself on postage. But yeah, very, very pleased with that one for a freebie from by the side of the road. The lead to the kettle lead cost me £1. So the entire thing cost me £1. And then another nice pickup. These were from the car boot sale, and they cost me £20. They are Doc Martens Mika Archive Mary Jane shoes. They were in absolutely brand new condition. These pictures are from the website, but there's my picture down there, and you can see, I don't think they'd been worn. Look at the base. I don't think they'd been worn at all. Certainly the lady I bought them from said they hadn't been worn, but you can't always trust that, because people quite often go, that's brand new, that is, when you can see dog crap in the soles. But yeah, I paid £20 for these, and I sold them for £70 on best offer quite quickly after listing, so I was quite pleased with those. I wouldn't normally pay 20 quid for something, but for a pair of Doc Martens in excellent condition like these, I was willing to spring 20 quid on those, and I was pleased with them. Very pleased with that sale. This is another lovely sale, and this went out to one of you guys. This went out to a viewer. So this is a Radley Hardwick black leather handbag. It had a clip wallet inside and the dust bag. It was in beautiful condition. I found it online that it was originally RIP, £189. Absolutely beautiful condition. When I bought this from the lady, she said, I've only used that once. And you could see as well, when you looked inside it, it was gorgeous condition. It had been bell used. The care card was there, and one of you guys bought it. It went out at $59.99 plus postage to one of you guys, and I was very pleased. Thank you so much for buying from me. Lovely sale. I think I paid £8. I think I remember at the car boot sale, I think it was the lady said 10, and I said, would you do £8? I think her husband was like yes, and she was like but yeah, I think I paid £8 for it. Cosori air fryer accessories kit. This came from, where did this come from? I think it came from a charity shop. I think I picked it up in the charity shop. Because I ummed and ahed about whether to keep it for myself, because I have a Cosori air fryer, but I was like, I don't really need it. I've already got the bits that came with the air fryer when I bought it. I don't really need it. I think it was charity shop, but it might have been car boot sale. No, it was car boot sale, wasn't it? I think it was car boot sale. Maybe one of you guys remembers. If you remember, pop it in. I could go back and look it up, but I can't be bothered. But if you remember, pop in the comments if you remember where I got this from. Maybe it was car boot sale. I'm starting to think it was. I'm starting to think it was a £5. Starting to think it was a £5 at the car boot sale. Anyway, it sold for £26.99. £26.99 plus postage on that one. Really nice set of accessories for the. It came in its box. It was in its original box. So yeah, it was car boot sale. I remember buying it. It was car boot sale. These were definitely car boot sale. These are Beacon infant readers, and they are proper blast from the past. These are too early for me. These are printed in 1947. So this would have been people who were at school in the 50s and 60s might remember these. But they gradually, the print gets bigger as you go through. You start with the early ones and there's very small print, and then as you get onto the later ones, the print gets smaller. Actually, did I say bigger? The print gets smaller as you go through. As the children become more proficient at reading, you can see. So they were lovely. This one, book one, was in a bit of a tired condition, but the rest were in pretty good nick. And yeah, they sold on best offer for £26. It might have been 25 or £26. 3 people added it to their watch list before it sold. Tupperware Bread Smart. I bought 2 of these at the car boot sale. I had wanted the Junior Bread Smart for myself for a long time, and I'd had one on my watch list on eBay, and they were always selling about 20 odd quid, and I didn't want to pay that because I'm tight. And so when I saw at the car boot sale, the lady had the smaller one and the larger one. This is the large Bread Smart, and the junior one is in my kitchen. I bought the 2, I think, for £10 or £12. It wasn't even that long ago, but my memory is really letting me down on stuff. And I knew when I bought the 2 that I didn't want the large one, but I'd be able to sell the large one, and I knew that was going to cover the cost of the smaller one, so I'd end up getting my smaller one free. So basically it's a condensed control bread bin that keeps your bread fresh for longer. I sold this for £26 plus postage, and that meant mine is free. My one in the kitchen was completely free. The Tresemme Perfectly Undone Waving Wand. I think this was Natalie's. She gave me some hair appliances that she wasn't going to use anymore. I think she was, and I was like, okay, I'll stick them on eBay. And I think this is one of them. But if not, then it came from the car boot sale and it didn't cost me very much. Those are the 2 options. I either bought it at the car boot sale, and I would never pay more than about 3 or 4 quid for a hair appliance at the car boot sale. So it was either cost me 3 or 4 quid from the boutique, or it was one of Natalie's, and it sold for £24.99 plus postage. 3 M&S wired full cut minimizer bras. I bought a pile of bras from one lady at the boot sale. I can't remember. I think she had them on £1 each, and I think I had about 10, and we settled on about £7 or £8, but I'm not 100% sure. I know there was a big stack, and quite a few of them are sold. These 3 were all out of one pack. There was no, they were no longer connected, but they were all out of one pack, and they still had their tags, and these sold for £22.99 plus postage. And I'm blowed if I can remember where these came from either. My memory is shocking at the moment. These are Irregular Choice Mutiny black floral bow front shoes. They're probably charity shop. I don't often see Irregular Choice at the car boot sale, so they're probably charity shop. And if they were, then I probably would have paid maximum £6 or £7, just because I don't pay for much. I don't pay a lot for shoes. £6 or £7. I had to trim them down, so you can see you can see that they're kind of a. They're meant to have jagged edges, you know. They're supposed to have frayed edges, but they were fraying a bit too much, so I had to trim some of the frayed edges off of the straps or whatever. But apart from that, they were in lovely condition, and like I said, £6 or £7 at the most. And they sold for £24.99 plus postage. These Joe Brown ones came from the car boot sale. I'm sure I remember buying them. They're sky blue patent leather, and they had some black marks on the toes, and I got that off with the Alvarez Removal. I was very pleased to be able to refurbish them up and get them nice. And they sold to one of you guys. They sold to Nicola. Thank you, Nicola, for buying these. Nicola is a very supportive viewer and buys quite a lot of stuff for me, and actually doesn't live that far away from me either. So I'll be always pleased to see Nicola's name coming up. Thank you so much for that. And they sold for £24.99 plus postage. I bought them at the car boot sale. I was starting to say that one, and I don't think I paid very much. Maybe a £5, maybe. Really have got to start getting my records out before I make these, so I can tell you the exact prices. This came from the charity shop. It came from the St Peter's Hospice charity shop in Shirehampton. I remember buying it. Joni is a really nice brand to buy, but I hardly ever see it. they sell very 50s retro stuff. They sell, you know, nipped in at the waist, swing out skirt dresses and stuff like that. And they sell some lovely things. And this particular range of London street names always sells well. But it has been listed for a while. I probably should have steamed it, but I think my steamer in Tammy's room somewhere. Got to go and find that. So I paid no more than £5 or £6 for this. Even though it was Joni, I wouldn't have paid more than £5 or £6. I think it may have been £4.99, and it sold for £24.99 plus postage, but it was listed for quite a while. The start date on this one, April the 8th. So it was listed for a few months before it went. This was mine. This is a Yoshi bookworm black leather Hudson matinee purse. It was mine. Natalie bought this for me, I think. I'm not sure whether Natalie bought me the handbag and I bought myself the purse, or whether Natalie bought me the purse and handbag. And the handbag. Nat, yeah. Did you buy me purse and handbag?
I think I bought the handbag and you bought the purse out of your Christmas money.
She thinks she bought the handbag and I bought the purse out of my Christmas money. Either way, I used it for a while. I used it for quite a while. It was still in very good condition because I looked after it. And then I moved on to a bigger purse, and this one was just in the cupboard, and I was like, I'm going to list that on eBay. Now, a lot of people sell their own stuff on a different account so that they won't have to, because you don't have to pay tax on selling your own things up to a certain amount. And so a lot of people have a separate account for that. I don't. I just bung it all on together. I just pay tax on all of it. It's easier for me than trying to keep separate records. Can't be bothered. This Yours clothing dress, I think I bought this in the charity shop to try myself, and when I tried it on, it didn't fit. I think it was it's not a good shape for me. It's a sleeveless fitted sort of shift shaped dress, not a good shape for me. It didn't flare out where I needed it to, and I think it was too tight. I don't remember how much I paid, but because it was for me, I may have paid more than I would have done to resell. So I'm quite often in a charity shop, if something's a tenner and I want it to resell, there's not enough margin in it. But if I want it for myself, I'll pay the tenner. So I may have paid, I wouldn't have paid more than about £8, I don't think, but I may have paid as much as £8 for this. Anyway, it sold for £24.99 plus postage. I was new with its tags. This set of M&S stacking mugs, I don't know whether it's this one or the next one that came first. Which came first, chicken or the egg? These are the M&S stacking mugs in the pastel stripe with spot floral pattern. And I had one set listed for a while, and it sold, and within 2 days of it selling, I went into the charity shop and there was another set, so I bought that. So there's the one and there's the other, and they both sold for £20 plus postage. So I listed them, this must have been the first one, listed at £24.99, and I accepted an offer of £20. And then this was the second, which I listed at £22.99 because I'd only got 20 on the previous ones, and accepted an offer of 20. But it was lovely, easy listing because it's identical items. So I just literally did a relist, even though I just sold one, just did a relist. And again, it sold very, very quickly. So 2 sets of stacking mugs. I'm not sure where the first one came from because they were listed for quite a long time, but they do tend to come from the car boot sale mostly. If they're from the car boot sale, I pay up to £5 on them. And the second set was definitely the charity shop in Stoke Bishop, and I did pay £5 for the second. £4.50. £4.50 for the second set. And here's another set. These, I don't remember how long I'd had these. I think they were they were listed on February the 4th. I think they were possibly less appealing because they were brown and cream, and brown's not very in at the moment. But things come back round, And again, this set went for £20 plus postage. I'm not sure how much I paid for these. I've had them in stock for quite a while. I'm not sure how much I paid, but never more than about £5. Do you remember these? These popped up in a haul video a few weeks ago. This is the BBC Learn to Read with the Alpha Box Complete Collection. They came from Steve's stall, and I always pay Steve a job lot. I tend to pile up all the stuff I want, and then he says, "Oh, give me this much." So they would have come in a pile of stuff, and the usually works out no more than about £1 an item. By the time he's done me a job lot price for all of it, so they probably cost me about £1. And there is a BBC Learn to Read with the Alpha Box Complete Collection 5 DVD set, and it sold for £20 plus postage quite quickly after listing. Cloud9 straighteners. Now, Cloud9 straighteners are very expensive. They are very, very good quality, and they sell very well. But these were broken. These are Natalie's. They powered on. They came on, but there was continuous beeping and there was a red light. They sold to a chap who's I'm going to show his username because he's plainly a business anyway. Straightener sales and repairs and parts. So we know what he's going to do. He's going to refurbish them and sell them on for a profit, and that's absolutely fine. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would not have been able to refurbish them. I wouldn't know where to go. Natalie was going to put them in the bin. I rescued them from the bin, and I was like, no, they're Cloud9. Maybe I can sell them for parts or not working, and that's what happened. They sold very, very quickly. They sold for £21 plus postage. And they went to somebody who's going to refurbish them and give them a new life. So yay for that. Haven't checked to see if he's got them listed. I could have done that, couldn't I? Bear with. He's got a pair listed that look like it could be them. Cloud9 straightener, wide plates, used condition, $89.99. So that's great, isn't it? I've made 20 quid on something that I was going to put in the bin, and if that's the same ones and he sells them at $89.99, then he's happy as well. Everybody's happy, and we keep the world turning and the people smiling. That's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. If he's managed to, he obviously knows what he's doing. Like, he's got all these bits that I don't even know what these bits are. Replacement thermal fuse, replacement this, replacement that, means nothing to me. But yeah, I got 20 quid for something that Natalie was going to put in the bin, so happy with that. BT Freestar 750 single digital cordless phone cost me £1 from the car boot only a few weeks ago. It sold very, very quickly. I got it on eBay within a couple of days of buying it, and it sold within a couple of days of listing. So it was gone within a week of turning it into the house. It is, as I said, single digital cordless telephone, large buttons, $19.99 plus postage. Cost me £1. For a few more like that, and I'd be very happy. And I've said, that was a $19.99. Remember I said at the beginning, not all of them quite hit 20 quid. This one, $19.99. Am I cheating by showing you a £20 and over video with a $19.99 sale? Probably. By the way, somebody in the last video I made said a bed needs making. I know the bed needs making. I do make my bed, but if a dog is asleep on it, I wait until the dog is gone and then I make the bed. So currently we have 3 dogs asleep on the bed. So the bed will be made when they've all gone downstairs. And this is the one I kept till last deliberately because this was the most interesting one when I picked it up. This is the cigar box of letters and documents that I picked up from the car boot sale. I paid £1 for the box, and it was all stuff appertaining to a gentleman called, where is it? A box of assorted vintage letters relating to the military career and onward life of a Mr. William Gardner, dating from around 1920 to 1940. The box includes his military references, his insurance papers, various postcards, and assorted letters to and from Mr. Gardner relating to his life and career. And it's sold to one of you guys. It's sold to one of the viewers who had seen it in the original pickup video. I got it from the car boot sale, and in that original pickup video I went through some of the bits and read them out, and I thought it was so interesting to have that window into somebody's life, because it was his military references. He'd been invalided out of the army, and then he'd been able to sign back up and do a clerk's job and various things like that. And I thought it was really interesting. And one of you guys obviously thought so too, because you bought it and sent me a message saying how pleased that you were to get it. So I don't know what you're going to do with it. Maybe you're going to keep it. Look, there's his rent book. I don't know whether you're going to keep it or do something else with it, but such an interesting box of stuff. I don't know how it ended up at the car boot sale. I guess maybe, presumably he's no longer with us and his house had been cleared out, and this wasn't of interest to whoever was dealing with his estate, which it's going to be that way, isn't it? You know what I mean? What you might look at that and go, oh, what a shame that they didn't want to keep that. But if the person dealing with his estate wasn't particularly connected with him anyway, then it doesn't mean anything to them, does it? It's just stuff then. It's all just stuff. So there we go. That's my 20 over 20 for August and September. And as I said, I only just managed to hit the 20 mark by squeezing in those two 19.99s at the end. It's not, eBay's not what it used to be for me. Some people I'm sure are still absolutely ploughing their own furrow, but eBay for me is not what it used to be. And you may have noticed there was very little clothing in that entire video, very little clothing, because it just doesn't sell for me anymore. Natalie and I were counting up last night of 306 sales in the last 90 days. 300 sales in 90 days, which is already poor. Only 34 of them were clothing. Clothing on eBay, I've got to move away from it. And yeah, I've got a huge pile of clothes right here waiting to be listed. I think we're going to go and look at Vinted for listing clothes. Certainly my own stuff can go on Vinted. This is it. Thank you for joining me for this one. I hope you found it interesting, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.